Hi, Carla. How are we doing today? Hopefully, you're not the only person that joins. Good. Good to see you. Hey, while you're on, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen just to make sure that you can see it. Uh, Give me a thumbs up if you can see my screen. Awesome. All right, we're going to give it about 1 more minute. More people trickling in. Welcome on in. We've got some crazy storms here in Cincinnati, so I'm hoping I don't lose power. We've lost power for like the last 3 nights. So far so good, but clouds are rolling in, fingers crossed. More people jumping in, welcome. Hello everyone, thanks for joining. All right, I say we go ahead and get started. Let me start this bad boy from the beginning. All right, guys. Well, welcome. Thank you everyone for joining me. I'm Coach Adrienne. Today's webinar is all about unlocking our peak performance. So we wanted to kind of correlate this with the Olympics, which we know are not starting for a couple weeks. We're a little over a week now. But this is kind of like the kickoff to the Olympics. So if you haven't gotten the memo, we are going to correlate some of our classes with the Olympics. We've got some challenges going on, and of course, we've got some webinars going on. So we're going to tie in the Olympics throughout this webinar just a little bit, but I also wanted this to be very interactive because performance has so much more to do with just movement and athletes and all that stuff that has to do with the Olympics. So I did want to start out with a little bit of trivia because you guys know I love my trivia questions. So this does have to do with the Olympics. Does anyone know what new event is going to be coming into the Olympics this year for the very first time? Most of us know that Paris will be holding the Olympics. Super excited about that. But does anyone know what new event, it's never been done before, is going to be performed in the Olympics this year? Throw it in the chat. Anybody hear about this? Anybody? Yes, Rebecca, it is breakdancing. So if you're old enough to remember breakdancing back when it was actually a thing, I was in middle school and that was a big thing. But yeah, it's gonna be an event. So that's gonna be interesting Olympics. I'm excited to watch it. Um, so moving on, next slide. What does performance mean to you? So when we talk about the Olympics, I know I immediately think about those athletes, but what does performance mean to you? And I want to hear from you guys again. So throw in the chat. What does performance mean to you? Okay, well, I'm going to tell you what comes to mind when I say performance. Like I said, athletes. That is what immediately comes to mind to me. But performance really has so much more that it can be applied to. So it can be anything in our daily lives: a parent, a partner, a spouse, a friend, a sibling, a coworker, a manager. We're going to talk about all these various roles. Maybe you immediately thought of your work performance. Maybe you thought about, being a mom or being a spouse or, being a manager. Or maybe you thought about a race that's upcoming. So, so many different avenues that we could go talking about our peak performance. And we're going to talk about all of them today. Understanding ourselves as an athlete. This might be something that's a little bit difficult for you to think about, to imagine yourself as an athlete. But if you think of daily tasks, winning daily tasks, and think of daily tasks as running a marathon, it's a little easier to wrap your head around. So let's talk about some of these daily tasks. Being a caregiver, like I mentioned, sometimes I feel like I deserve a trophy just every day for keeping my kids alive. I don't know if you guys feel like that, but um, being a caregiver is really hard. It's difficult. So pat yourself on the back at the end of the day for being able to complete this task. Traveling. Many of you travel for work. Traveling is exhausting, even if it's not for work, even if it's vacation, if it's with your family, traveling is exhausting. So if you do travel, maybe you have family in other countries. I know many of you have family in other countries, and give yourself credit for being able to make this happen. Work. Some days work does feel like you're running a marathon. It feels like a big task, right? And other days it's a breeze. So some days you feel like you're winning, and other days you feel like not so much. So just remember those small victories. That's a performance, just making it through the day of work, right? Nutrition. This is a big one. Have you ever just eaten a really heavy meal or had a big, heavy dessert and you just feel sluggish and lethargic and kind of gross? Well, keep this in mind when we're talking about unlocking our full peak potential. I love this quote from Bethany Frankel. Our bodies are like bank accounts. Good, clean food are healthy investments. So eating that clean food helps us feel good. It helps us really unlock our peak performance and do our best and perform our best. Home environment. Just keeping your house clean, preparing meals, doing laundry, that can become like running a marathon, right? If you complete that task, give yourself a high five. Maintaining a social life. This is another big one. Who has time for that anymore, right? How many of us are so busy with work, kids, chores? We just don't have time to hang out with our best friend anymore. So if you can fit that in, that social aspect, you're accomplished. Give yourself a pat on the back. And then prioritizing movement, of course, this is where typically most of us think of unlocking our potential and think of us as athletes when we are prioritizing that movement. Well, sometimes we can fit in exercise and sometimes we can't. Again, just taking that dog for a walk after work for 10 minutes, that can be a huge feat. That's a huge accomplishment. So, again, celebrate those victories. Forget the fads, focus on the fundamentals. So, lucky for us, we have these four pillars of health that we all know so well, right? Mindset, movement, nutrition, and recovery. And we really do need all four to maintain a holistic approach and to really find that balance. So, we're going to take some time today and we're going to really kind of dive into each one of these. And I want to practice each one of these too. So, let's talk about mindset first. 70 to 90% of Olympic athletes use mindset to help them unlock their peak performance. Michael Phelps is one of those athletes. He swears by visualization and imagery. So before any competition, he talks about how he imagines any scenario. What would happen if his goggles broke? What would happen if his suit ripped? What would happen if he got a cramp while he was swimming? And he imagines how he would handle any situation if any of these things happen, how he would prevent them, and how he would fix them. So this is a practice that I'm going to tell you guys, I have never practiced it before, to be quite honest with you. When I was kind of doing a little research for this webinar, I was reading about Michael Phelps and I thought, okay, I'll try it. I had a triathlon this on Sunday, my first triathlon of the season, and I'm not a good cyclist. I'm just not very good. I get really nervous. I don't have a lot of confidence on that bike. So I tried this, and I'm telling you, there's something to it because I got first place in my age group. So I'm super excited. It was like my best race ever. And this is what I did right before the race. I just imagined myself on that bike. What would I do if I got a flat tire? What would I do if I crashed? What would I do if I got a yellow card? And I imagined every scenario, how I would fix it or how I would prevent it. And I really just felt so confident on that bike for the first time ever. So it works. So I want to do it right now. So I'll have everybody close your eyes, if you will. Um, and let's just think of a situation that may be upcoming that, maybe you're a little nervous about. Maybe that's very, very important. Maybe it's an interview, a job interview. Maybe it's a big important meeting with your manager. Maybe you are a manager and you have to have a conversation with one of your coworkers that's not very comfortable. Um, Maybe it's a situation where you have to talk to your children about something. Maybe your spouse. Uh, just imagine anything. Maybe it is a race. Maybe it's something upcoming that you're just really nervous about. Um, think about yourself, visualize yourself crushing that situation, saying everything right, doing everything right, just nailing your performance, and just focus on that right now. Imagine it happening. And then imagine some situations, maybe some scenarios where it doesn't go so good. Maybe, you have to walk a little bit in your race. Maybe you do get a cramp in your race. Maybe you kind of flub up your presentation. Maybe you flub up your interview a little bit. Maybe you don't say all the things you wanted to say to your coworker or your child. So just any scenario, and then try to think of a way that you can fix it and prevent it. Just think about that right now. Focus. I'm telling you, it works. And science has proven that doing this does improve our motor skills, it decreases our anxiety, and it increases our confidence, which it certainly that worked for me. So I'm going to do it every race I ever have. So it works. All right, moving on. We go to movement. And again, this is what we typically think about when we think about athletes or unlocking our peak performance. And it is very important. So, practicing our physical well being, increasing our muscle mass, improving our endurance, those are all things we know that we need to practice in order to nail an event, right? But it's also the stuff that we do every day that's not considered intentional exercise. You may see on the notes there that last little acronym called NEAT, N-E-A-T. It stands for non-exercise activity thermogenesis. And you may have heard of this before, but it's the energy a person uses for daily activities that isn't sleeping, eating, or exercise. So things like walking upstairs to brush your teeth, cooking, fidgeting, walking from our car to our building, all this stuff matters, and it can really help with us and unlock our performance. And sometimes the mindset part is a little bit more difficult than the movement part, just because the movement part is pretty obvious. We know we need to work on that, right, to nail a performance. But the mindset part is a little bit harder. But I still I want to practice the movement stuff as well. So I want everybody just to stand up at your desks, right where you are, and we're just going to march in place for about 10 to 20 seconds. So just drive your knees up, shoulders back, core is nice and tight. Lengthen your spine here. We're just going to get that blood flowing. We're sitting in meetings all day. It feels good to just get your body circulating, get that blood flowing. Take some nice deep breaths. You might get a little warm. And then from here, we're going to do 10 squats. And maybe for your squats, you don't need to go down all the way. Go down as far as your range of motion will allow. Pretend like there's a lasso around your hips. Someone's pulling you backwards, and just kind of pretend like you're sitting in a chair. And if you'd like, you can actually sit in your chair and then stand back up. We're going to do 10 right now. Here we go. 1, 2, drive through those heels. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Boom. Don't you feel better? I love just getting up in between every meeting and just marching in place, doing some squats. It just gets that blood flowing, and believe it or not, it gives us more energy. So do it anytime. And that's practicing movement. And then we have our nutrition pillar. Even what we eat can have an effect on our performance, right? We talked about, eating that heavy dessert and eating that food. Clean food gives us energy. We need food to keep our furnace burning. So it's important to have that well-balanced diet. It's even going to affect our mental health, believe it or not. So limiting that caffeine, limiting alcohol, and eating enough protein, getting all the vitamins and minerals and essential nutrients that we need throughout the day. So I wish I could invite you all into my kitchen right now and we could practice this and cook up a really healthy snack, but we can't do that virtually. So instead, let's just try to focus on a little homework assignment. And for the rest of the month, let's try with every meal just to get a very colorful plate. So lots of fruits, lots of vegetables, as many different colors as you can add. That's going to ensure that we do get those vitamins, minerals, the fiber that we need to help us just unlock our peak performance and do our best and feel good with that clean eating. And then finally, we have recovery. Again, one of the most important components to helping us unlock our peak performance. So making sure we get that quality sleep, making sure we're stretching, we're foam rolling, we're taking advantage of all those rest days, making sure we're working on our mobility. I also like to mention that lack of sleep contributes to 60% higher risk of occupational injury. So again, if you're old enough to remember breakdancing, you're probably old enough to remember things like Chernobyl and other nuclear plant accidents, or the Exxon oil spill, or even the Space Shuttle Challenger. I mean, I remember exactly where I was sitting in school, which class, when that space shuttle happened. All of these workplace accidents were directly and indirectly caused by lack of sleep, by excessive sleepiness. That's been proven. So that just kind of blew my mind when I read that research. It's just crazy how many accidents, even driving accidents, can happen. So many of them happen because of sleepiness and excessive sleepiness. So I want to practice a little recovery as well, and I'm going to show you two of my favorite recovery and just desk stretches that can help out. One is a shoulder opener, but it also is going to open our back and it's going to open up our chest. So I want you all to take one hand overhead, walk your fingertips down the center of your back. Take your other hand, walk your fingertips up the center of your back, and try to connect your fingers in the center of your back. You may or may not be able to do this depending on your shoulder mobility. But from here, we're going to take a nice deep breath. You're going to feel those shoulders open up, feel that chest, feel those lats. And then exhale, unwind. This is going to help with our posture. Take it to the other side. Walk your fingertips down the center of your back. Other hand, ooh, big pop there. Walk at the center and try to touch your fingertips in the center. I cannot touch my fingertips on this side, but I can on the other side. I practice it every day, but I'm still not quite there yet. So that tells me I need to do a little bit more shoulder mobility work on this side. You may be feeling the same thing. Take a nice deep breath. Exhale and unwind. So if you're sitting at your desk all day in meetings and we get that crane neck, we get those rounded shoulders, we get that bad posture. What happens when we're not even lengthening our spine and we do have that bad posture? We're not even getting our full lung capacity. So we get lethargic, we get sleepy. So just very important to just recover, do those little stretches while you're in between meetings. Another one is our hips. We're sitting at our desks for so long, our butts feel like they're getting squared, right? So this is a great hip opener. It feels really good. Take one ankle and just cross it right above your knee. And this may be enough to open up those hips, open up your glutes and your abductors. But if you want to get even deeper, you're going to sit up nice and tall, and then you're going to fold forward and you'll feel a deeper stretch, and it feels really good. And something you can just do while you're in between meetings. And then take it to the other side. And again, this might be enough. If it hurts to be in this position, you can just cross your leg like this. It's still going to be a bit of an opener. But if you can, flex that foot, lengthen your spine, and then fold forward. All right, nice work. So just some little tips that make you feel really good. Got some questions here. More about soft tissue under recovery. Okay, so those are things like foam rolling. Okay, so if you go within the app, you go under schedule, we do have a couple classes that we do live, but we also have a bunch of classes in the on-demand section all about foam rolling. If you're interested, I could actually send you a workout after this presentation if you're interested. And it's all about foam rolling, but you don't necessarily have to have a foam roller either. You can do things like a tennis ball in between your shoulder blades, roll it. I like to put a tennis ball in between at the bottom of a sock and put it over my shoulder and just roll it against my chair, roll it against my back or against a wall. You can also sit on a tennis ball, roll around if you have any sciatica or any pinching issues when you're sitting all day long. Roll it around. So that soft tissue just kind of gets that blood flowing. It gets your fascia broken up. It's also really good for plantar fasciitis too. You can roll your foot around a golf ball. So yeah, we have all kinds of neat tips that we can give you in more detail if you'd like. Just let me know, ping me after this session, and I can send you some workouts with that soft tissue work. All right. And speaking of recovery, we are going to talk a little bit more about recovery right now. We talked about the importance of recovery. It truly is one of the most critical parts of ensuring that we perform at our best. And no matter what role we're talking about, so being a mom, being a manager, being that athlete, in terms of physical recovery, there are two ways we can recover, or two phases, I guess you could say. One is active and one is passive. You probably heard of active recovery and passive. So active would be those things that I was just talking about: foam rolling, stretching, hydrotherapy. I just recently got into ice baths and I am obsessed with them. They feel so good. So physical therapy, those are all considered active. And then we have our passive recovery, and those are things like a complete rest day or sleeping. You're not moving, which sometimes we need days like that just to decompress. Um, we talked about sleep. We know that sleep is critical as it helps increase our human growth hormone. And that's the hormone that actually repairs our tissue and it helps us to build that muscle after we break it down. After we lift, we're putting tiny tears in our muscles. And so we need to make sure that we recover and we get that human growth hormone and it repairs it and builds it back up. That's what helps us build muscle. Poor sleep can even increase the risk of certain diseases like Alzheimer's. And we already talked about, those occupational accidents or driving accidents. And then finally, we have our mental recovery. Mental stress is so much more exhausting than physical stress. I'm sure you guys can relate to this. Have you ever just been completely stressed out or anxious about something, and then when it's finally over, you just want to sleep for days, or you get sick because it kind of debilitates your immune system when you worry and worry and worry. Mental stress is just crazy powerful, right? So things like meditation and breath work, those things can really help with that situation. Social interactions, spending time in nature, disconnecting from our phones and our computers. And sometimes we just need that PTO day or that staycation. That can be essential. That can be really, really helpful. Yes, Carla, I agree. We both know how how mental stress can just wear you out. All right. And then when we do get that REM sleep, that REM sleep, and that's that deep sleep where we actually dream. I love that kind of sleep. It's just like fabulous. Isn't it magical when you actually sleep and you dream and you know you had a good night's sleep? That's going to help us with memory, emotional processing, mental health, and brain repair. So we want to do everything that we can to get 7 to 8 hours of sleep. I know that sometimes seems completely impossible, but do y'all know the number one thing that we can do to get that quality sleep? It's to go to bed and wake up at the same time every single night and every single morning, even on the weekends, because how often do we play catch up on the weekends, right? So that is the number one proven way to get that quality sleep. Bedtime, same time in the morning as well. All right. Life is a team sport, and it's so important to have that support system. The American Society of Training and Development did a study on accountability and found that you have a 65% chance of completing a goal if you commit to someone. And if you have a specific accountability appointment with a person you've committed with, you'll increase your chances by 95% of success. So lucky for you, Intellians, you have all of this support right at your fingertips. You have us coaches. We are here to help you. Set up a one-on-one with us. We want to get you the game plan that you need. We want to give you motivation. We want to help you with any barriers that are preventing you from reaching your goal. Reach out to us. We're all really happy to help. No matter if it's a health goal, if it's a fitness goal, maybe it's you want to quit smoking, maybe it's you want to drink more water, maybe it's you want to go for a 5-minute walk every day. And maybe it's you want to run a full marathon, whatever it may be. We're here to help you. You have access to a team of dietitians. They're all wonderful as well. I've had a lot of questions lately about how to access this. So when you are in the app and you go to the coaching tab and you select, I want to set up a one-on-one nutrition consultation, you then have to go to your profile, that little icon on the right corner, tap that. That's going to bring up a list of the dietitians. That's where you would choose which dietitian you want to work with, and then they will be able to help you and you can set up an appointment with them. And it's free for you. That's the golden part. This is all free. So it's virtual coaching, it's virtual nutrition consultations, and it's completely free for you as long as you work for Intel, which is really a nice perk. You have access to physical therapists. We have clubs and channels where you can meet like-minded people that enjoy the same thing, and you can set up support systems with them. So things like the running club, the hiking club, Moms of Intel. If you don't know how to access these, let me know. I can help you walk you through it. It's really easy to join any of those. And we have our Ergo Plus concierge team. We're here to help you with any pain or discomfort that you're having when you're at work. We can help you with your desk setup. We can give you access to any of the resources that you need and just kind of guide you in the right direction. So use us. That's what we're here for. So people who set goals are 10 times more likely to be successful. Those who write down their goals are 42% more likely to achieve them. You've probably heard this before. So I want to do this right now. Let's grab a piece of scrap paper and just write down any goal that you may have. It may be the same goal you made at the beginning of the year for your New Year's resolution, and maybe you just haven't quite accomplished it yet. Or maybe it's a new goal that you made during the summer. Maybe it was a running goal. Maybe it was, I can tell you what my goal was. It was to read a book every month during the summer because I don't have to help my kids with homework in the summer. Guess what? I failed. I've completely failed. I have not read one book and it's halfway through the summer. So I'm going to write it down again because I know this can help. And we do want to make sure that our goals are smart goals. So specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time frame. So looking at that goal that you just wrote down, maybe it's, to walk for 15 minutes at lunch 5 days a week. Okay, pretty standard. And I think that's pretty doable. So looking at your goal, whatever it may be, is it specific? Is it measurable? Is it achievable? Is it realistic? We want to make sure that our goals aren't too hefty, but we want to make them challenging just as much. And is it time frame? So, maybe it's just a summertime goal. Maybe it's for a year. Maybe it's just for the next week. That is okay. This is your goal. So just following those rules. And then just some other tips about your goal to help us keep goals. And this is proven to help people achieve their goals more successfully. Make sure to create a long-term vision. So maybe if your goal was just to walk at lunchtime 5 days a week throughout the summer, maybe your long-term goal is to, take down your blood pressure just a bit after doing that. Maybe it's to lose a few pounds. So envision that long-term goal and then use that imagery or that visualization once you have written it down. Think about, achieving that goal. Think about being successful. Think about maybe what would happen if I slip up. Think about how to prevent that slip up and think about ways to fix that slip up, just like we did when we were mentally preparing. Embrace the process, have fun with it. Our goals shouldn't feel like chores. They should be fun. If they feel like chores and they're like, we're probably not going to stick to it. And remember that progress isn't linear. We're going to have ebbs and flows. We're going to have ups and downs. So just don't beat yourself up if you do slip up. Pat yourself on the back for those small victories. Give yourself a break. And just remember, that you're human and that we all slip up to every once in a while, but celebrate the small successes. You may have heard that prevention is better than a cure. This approach is critical for helping us unlock our peak performance. So specifically, if we prioritize recovery, we talked about recovery a lot, and then we had some questions about it. It'll not only help us decrease anxiety, but also help our cortisol levels. So we know that cortisol, most of you know this, is our stress hormone. And we already talked about how debilitating stress and anxiety and mental stress can be. It's that hormone, that cortisol is that hormone that builds up fat around our midsection. It also can increase our chances for cardiovascular disease, heart attack, stroke, because it is around our organs. So we want to make sure that we avoid that cortisol at all costs, do everything we can to decrease that stress hormone. So one of the things we can do is not to wait for physical or mental stress to arise. Talk to someone. Go to your annual doctor appointments. Get your physicals. You guys have, you may or may not know this, but you guys have 10 free sessions per topic per year with a counselor, therapist, psychiatrist in your area. It's also available to your whole family. Your spouse, your children can use your 10 free sessions as well. That is a great perk that you have with Intel. I mean, don't be ashamed of that. It is a really, really great tool and great resource for you. So try to prevent before it gets to be so bad that you do have that mental stress or you have that cortisol buildup. Be holistic. Don't turn right to medicine right away. Take advantage of those 4 pillars that we talked about and that we just practiced: mindset, nutrition, movement, and recovery. They are golden. Work on your mobility and your soft tissue repair, your foam rolling, your stretching, those mobility classes, so you don't get that muscle soreness. Reach out to me if you want those specific classes. If you need help just figuring what exactly is, foam rolling. I don't really know how to do it. I don't really know what kind of stretches to do, because I'm sitting at my desk all day, or, I'm a runner, or, I'm just getting started with exercise. I'm not really sure what to do. Reach out to any of us coaches. We can help you out. We can give you specifics. We can set you up on a game plan. We can do mindful practice in meditation. We have this super cool Headspace that I know all of you have downloaded by now. It's really fantastic. Meditation is hard on our own. I mean, exercising, eating healthy is a no-brainer. We know we have to do it, but meditation is really hard. So Headspace is a really good tool for us. It's guided, and you can type in any old topic you want. You can type in, I'm having anxiety, workday stress, losing weight, my kids can't sleep. I mean, any kind of tool you want, any kind of topic, type it in there, and I can almost guarantee that they will have some kind of meditation session for you. Some of them are 2 minutes, some of them are 15, but just a really nice resource. And then finally, we have self-reflection and regulation. Be aware, nobody knows your body better than you. So I always say, listen to your body. It's a little bit easier to listen to your body than it is your mind, but then again, you have these great tools to help you out with that. So going back to our original question at the beginning, peak performance relates to our performance in so many different roles. So giving ourselves the care and the love we deserve in the holistic sense that we've discussed allows us to unlock our peak performance in all of the roles that we carry. We've all heard that in the rare case of an emergency on an airplane, that we should put our oxygen mask on ourselves before others, before assisting others, meaning we have to be the best version of ourselves in order to be the best mom, brother, spouse, manager, friend that we can be to other people. So practice that self-care, that self-love. So hopefully you've learned some of the strategies that we can use to help us unlock our peak performance. And by now we know that all of you have downloaded the app, but we talked about the live, the on-demand classes that you can take. There's a plethora of different classes in there. And some of them are just those 10-minute long mobility classes, stretch breaks, the breath work that is so important for our mental stress. We talked about the one-on-one coaching, the one-on-one nutrition, the Ergo Concierge program. We're all here to help you. So if you need any help navigating through the app or getting any of our services, let us know. We're happy to help. Now let's see how we're doing on time here. Okay, I was hoping I'd have time to do this. So I'm gonna X out of here. And let me pull this up. Okay, I'm still screen sharing. I'm going to pull up this Headspace app. If you had any if it was kind of challenging when we were doing that visualization or imagery, it was really challenging for me as well. So I found this on Headspace. I just typed in visualization, and this little 4-minute video came up. I'm going to play this for you because it was really helpful for me to kind of learn how to do that before my race. So here we go.
As human beings, we naturally tend to be judgmental. We judge other people and we judge ourselves. In addition, we compare ourselves to others, especially today with social media ever so popular. All of this can take a heavy toll on our self-esteem. So the idea is to always first bring awareness to any judgment you're bringing to the moment, and then figure out helpful and healthy ways to counter it. Today's brief meditation is designed to ignite you with positivity and empowerment. And so, dropping into practice right now, adopting a comfortable and dignified posture of awareness, gently noticing your body settling into the space beneath you. And this will be a visualization meditation, so it may be best to close your eyes. And of course, you can leave them open if that's more comfortable for you. And just breathing, letting the breath flow on its own, doing what it naturally knows how to do. And with your next breath, using your imagination, picturing a gentle, warm light flowing throughout your entire body. And noticing how this light spreads positivity and empowerment to every part of your body. So, starting all the way from your feet, this light begins to gently flow upwards to the ankles and the legs, spreading positivity and empowerment throughout. And now it continues to the pelvis, stomach, the entire back, chest, and shoulders. Feeling the empowerment and positivity as the warm light continues to the fingers, hands, wrists, elbows, and returns back to the shoulders. Positivity and empowerment being spread throughout each body part. Noticing as it now flows to the neck, the face, and the entire head. And as it reaches the very crown of your head, the entire body engulfed in positivity and empowerment, noticing how it feels to perhaps spread a big, gentle smile on your face. Nice and easy. And also maybe bringing a positive affirmation to the space. Maybe something like, I am confident in my abilities to succeed. Or, I am worthy of happiness and love. And now, gently taking a deep breath. And with the exhalation, if they were closed, allowing the eyes to open. And bringing your awareness back to your body and surroundings. And carrying this sense of empowerment and positivity with you for the remainder of your day. And coming back to this meditation whenever you need to. Have a healthy and happy day.
All right, guys. There we go. I feel empowered. I feel pretty good. How do y'all feel? And are there any questions out there? Thank you. I thought so too. That was a fun one. Like I said, Headspace has everything. Any topic you can think of, anything you're feeling, type it in there. If any of you are runners or you're just starting out running, I typed in running meditation when I was doing my running clinic, and Kevin Hart actually is a runner. Who knew? And he's got a crazy fun meditation on Headspace, which was cool. So you could type in any topic you'd like. Any other questions? Anybody? All right, well, I will be sure. You just started running. Fantastic, Susan. Congratulations. Hopefully you can join one of my running clinics soon. If you have any questions getting on a game plan, let me know. There's some live Headspace meditation. Okay, coming from Intel in August. Yes, we are having a wellness retreat in August, and it's going to be really fun. I'm super stoked about that. Be on the lookout, Carla says. And I will be sure to send you all where to find the running clinic. So I typically do 2 or 3 a year. If you're interested, I can send you the recordings. I just had one in April, I believe was when I did the last one. So if you're interested, I can send you the recordings from that clinic. Very, very helpful. And okay, perfect. I'll be sure to get everyone's information here, and I'm going to send up a follow-up email. So you'll have my email address if you guys do have any specific questions, or if you do want to set up a one-on-one, if you have more personal, individualized questions, let us know. All right, guys, have a great rest of your day. Thank you again for joining me. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.